So Will is here with me today.
Hello.
I'm so excited to have you here, Teddy, because I have been seeing something come up a lot with a lot of my clients and just the women in this community. Gender roles. Okay, and you and me, when we first started dating, that came up for us on our first date, and we need to talk about it. Okay, so
now are we limiting it just male and female gender roles?
Well, what else would we talk about?
Well, there's a lot of more genders now, right?
Oh yeah, there are. You're right. Oh my gosh, you're so wise. Yeah, I can't speak to anything else. You know what I mean? Okay. I don't have any experience in that. So yeah, I'm talking about male and female gender roles, right? And so when you and I went on our first date, it was so important for me to ask you and talk to you about what you expected from your partner. And do you remember that?
You want to remind me, because I'll remember it as you say it.
Oh, I said to you, like, oh, how do you feel about dating someone who's independent?
Oh,
like
I definitely remember that question.
Okay, and then what did you say, and how did you feel?
Loved it. I love that. I love that my partner, being a female, is independent. My previous long-term relationship to that was like a 6-year relationship, and there was not a lot of independence from that person, in that person. So yeah, I really appreciated your own independence a lot.
Yeah. Okay. So this is what was important to me when I was dating before you. I had dated someone who was not supportive of how I was, in my career. I was getting, I had my own apartment. A lot of people, sometimes depending on how they're raised or their culture, it's like, oh, the woman would stay at their house until they get married. And so I, being raised with my parents, my mom was like, you should never need a man or depend on a man. And for me to be fulfilled on my own and have my financial shit together.
I can imagine your mom. You don't need a man.
First of all, that's not how she talks. That's not how she talks at all. But she was very much like empowering me since I was little. So I realized, oh my gosh, this is a deal breaker, because in my last relationship, that was an issue, and it kept being an issue, and we broke up because of it. And so on our first date, I asked you.
Well, what aside from the overall issue of you not, still, I guess, being dependent on your parents or something, like having your own place and your own job and your own car and like just being totally independent, what was the fear? What was the reason why that your ex didn't like that? So I had my own apartment. I want him to come over and check it out, and his mom wouldn't let him. And we're like in our 20s. I was gonna say, you guys are like 16.
No,
17, right?
We're like 20, like 22. I don't know idea. We're like in our 20s. We're early 20s.
Adults. Let's just
we're adults. But I think he was living at his mother's house. I had moved out, and they're a great family and everything, but they felt like the mom felt, what is she doing? And they're Cuban, and in the Cuban culture, sometimes you have this idea of, okay, the woman stays living with her parents and moves out when she gets married. Like, that's just the way. So when I was living on my own, I told him to come over, and he was like, no, I can't. My mom doesn't approve of this. Yeah, there's a lot of issues with that alone. I realized, okay, I love a man that loves his mom.
Mommy, can I go over to Jackie's house?
Well, that came up on our date too. I was like, no, but on that note, exactly, I asked you, like, how is, what did you grow up seeing from your mom and your dad? Because I wanted to see, like, what kind of, like, partner you would be in our relationship. What roles did you expect me to take over? You know what I mean? If these things worked out. So what did you say about that?
So my mom, I have a very vague memory of my mom actually going to work. I don't know, it must have been 4 or something.
Oh, little Teddy. Yeah.
And she had a job, she went to work, but kind of after that, it was stay-at-home mom for the rest of, as far as I can remember growing up.
I remember you saying this on our date, and I was like, oh shit, maybe. And I said, but this is so important. I heard you say that, and I said, okay, is that something that you want from your partner,
Right.
your wife, your future wife.
And I remember growing up, my mom would always say, like, it was, she did have a lot of, physical disabilities, which kind of kept her from maybe having a full-time normal job. But she would always say that was one of her best things ever, was staying at home for me and my brother, being a stay-at-home mom and wife, and she loved it, and it was her choice. So, I looked at it growing up, not like, oh, my dad's making her stay home and barefoot and pregnant or something like that. But it was like she wanted to stay home. She enjoyed, taking care of me and Mikey, and that was her choice to do that. So it was like her independent thought was, I want to do this. This is what I want to do. And
I love that. That's so important, babe. I love that you said that, because at the end of the day, it's like it's not like she's expected to stay home because your dad was like, you're staying home and that's what you do and I'm the provider. It's that she wanted to do that and your dad was so supportive. And I think that's the message that you and I, what you delivered to me on our first date, was that whatever I wanted to do, you were going to be supportive of that.
Right. Because I see it as like a team, not like, oh, this is my thing and you've got your thing. And yeah, we can maybe live under the same roof, but it's going to be, I do my thing and I want you to do something and you could do your thing and you want me to do something. No, it's like we're on the same page. We're on the same team.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you actually, I feel like people need to know this. You are so hands-on. You've always been with the kids. If you stop touching me, whoever's listening to this is now groping me.
Oh. I put my hand on your shoulder. Come on.
You first of all never put your hand on my shoulder like that. You
said I was hands-on, so.
Okay, Teddy, focus. No, but this is so important because I hear a lot of women going on dates with guys, and they're saying things like, "Oh, equality, women and men, are we equal?" And first of all, what do you say to that? Are women and men equal? No. Okay, you're saying no. Why?
We are different. We're different. We're a species that has at least 2 different genders. Mm-hmm. And there is differences, and I think we should celebrate those differences. We should be provided equal opportunity and be treated equally, but we're not equal.
Well, this one guy, this one guy on a date with one of my clients said that, and he said, "Oh yeah, well, what do you think about picking up the bill on this first date?" Right?
That's what he said.
That's what he said. It's like, "Oh, because if we're equal, you should be picking up the bill. Like you should also pay." And she's like, "No, that's different because I was like, well, why? Why is it different?" That's bullshit. But wait a second. Just to be clear, okay, there's a few things happening here. Because financially, right, babe, you and me have always contributed to our household. I love to work. So you and I both worked and we contributed. Sometimes you've made more money. Sometimes I made more money. It didn't even matter. At the end of the day, we had joint bank accounts. Yeah, our money.
We don't even have independent accounts.
We don't have independent accounts. We're a team. We're a joint account, right? And whatever dreams I want to pursue, you always help me, whatever. But on the first date, right? Mm-hmm. If we're talking about, oh, what's the role of the guy on the date? Should he pay the bill on the first date? This is
I felt yes.
Yeah. Yes, and I agree. I agree. I think a guy that's trying to be cheap about it, I feel like that's cheap. That feels cheap to me. I want a generous man to pick up the bill. And then, he had a comment oh, but what if I'm taking you out a few times? I'm going to be spending so much money. That's what he said. Ew. That's so nasty. I'm like, what? What are we talking about? Imagine you saying that to me. We would never have had a second date.
We wouldn't be here.
We wouldn't be here. Exactly. But, babe, can you speak to that? Because I think there's also guys listening to this and they need to know. Pick up the freaking bill. Tell them whatever you want to say.
No, I think it's a good point because you're like, well, there should be equality, yada, yada. We should pay, go Dutch or pay, you pay one bill, I pay the other bill. And to some extent, okay, yeah, maybe that's a argument, or maybe that might work for some couples. But I feel maybe this is just my growing up and just seeing, historically, the chivalrous man would, pay for the drinks or pay for the dinner and open the car door and open the door for the
He literally will still opens the door for me all the time. We're 16 years married this December. It's great. And like, that is the sweetest. You're just very chivalrous.
Yeah. And then, you know.
And by the way, the bill thing. Wait a
Yes.
second. You picked up the bill, but didn't we eventually? I don't know. When did that happen? Like, when did I start picking up bills? Did I ever even pick up a bill?
Waiting for that one.
No, you're so messy. What?
No, I think once there was times where like, oh, I'm gonna take you out for your birthday or something like that, and you would. I remember we went to, was it Da Vinci?
Oh my gosh, in Bal Harbor.
Yeah, and you picked up the bill for sure. And,
I picked up the bill. That was a big deal. That's right. I remember that.
but it's also like an invitation thing. Like, I asked you out, so I am inviting you, and so I should be the one paying. And
yeah.
And most of the time, I was saying, hey, let's go on a. You know, I want to take you out on a date. I want to take you out on a date, not, hey, let's go together and, 50-50. And
yeah, I don't like that at all. I don't like that. And you know what? I don't give a shit that we met 17 years ago. This is timeless. Like, this is advice. I feel like it just shows people's true colors. Like, pay attention if someone is not being generous on the first date. That being said, the conversation that we had on our first date was like, what does it look like? What is your ideal situation with your partner, with your wife? And we said, we talked about being a team, and you like love cooking. Like, he does laundry and he cooks, and you saw your dad doing that. Is that why?
Yeah, my dad was very hands-on. He helped change diapers, and he would cook Sunday breakfasts and all that. So like, yeah,
that's like literally what you do. Like, this is Will. Like, you do this. It's the cutest thing. And now my kids, which I'm going to have my kids on this podcast because it's so cute, because I've had them do their own list of what they want down the road from their partner. And they said, well, like Papa, who cooks, and he's
trying to create a really high standard.
That's exactly right. I love that you're doing that, babe. But like, just to be clear, and the message of this episode is that gender roles, like what you're sometimes feeling, oh my gosh, like if you want to work, if you're an independent badass woman, and a guy tells you on the first date, like, ask him how he feels about that. And if the guy says, oh, I like traditional women, I like women that stay at home and have the kids and take care of it, well, if that's not aligned to what you want, then it's bye time. That's it.
100%.
Yeah, like, a guy will tell you what he
wants.
Like,
if you wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, that would be fine.
Exactly. If you're like, oh, you know what? I'm working now. I love my career, but I would actually love to pause when I have kids and like be a stay-at-home mom. How do you feel about that? And he's like, no, I don't like that. I want you to work. Like, do you see what I'm saying? And then you're not aligned, and it's bye time.
Look at it like this too. You and not all couples and have to have children, but a married couple, non-married couple, whatever, that decides to have children, the woman has to carry the child for 9 months. So that's a gender role that I can't fulfill. There's no way I can do anything except be present and help you and all that. So why not look at it like, okay, yeah, maybe it's unequal at the beginning, but I'm gonna pay for the meals, I'm gonna take you out, I'm gonna pay for drinks, open your door. I'm being sort of one-sided, but then down the road you're gonna have this child growing in you for 9 months, and and it's like, that balances out. And there's probably tons of other examples, but like, there's things that you can do or that I can't do, and then so there's things that I'm gonna do that I don't expect you to
You're so cute, Teddy. No, you're adorable, and I totally agree with that. And by the way, just like you sparked a memory in my head when you said that, I remember when I was breastfeeding, and you were so beyond helpful. Like, you were like, babe, don't do anything. I'll do the dishes, and I'll get you. And you always got me water, and you always made sure that I was like nourishing my body. And You went to the baby classes with me, the breastfeeding classes. Like, you and I were so aligned. We're like, we have a mission. We're gonna do it. And I just feel like at the end of the day, I love the way that your perspective on it. I just feel like it's so mature, Teddy. Like, it's mature, it's wise. There's so much gold here. And if you're listening to this and you're like, what the hell? I never talked to a guy like that. Like I've never heard that. You're dating the wrong guys. Like, there are so many men, like, honestly, that are out there that are emotionally mature. Right, Teddy? Because I know you have friends, right? Do you have any single friends for anybody out there? You have a brother, he's single.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
That's right. That's
Loves
right.
to cook.
Loves to cook. And that's who I'm bringing onto the podcast next, Mikey. Oh my
We
God.
should do that.
That'd be so cute.
Yeah, we're in.
Oh my God, we're going to see
we're
them
gonna see them
now.
soon.
We're going to see them now on Thanksgiving. Oh my God. Babe, I love you so much. Thank you for being here.
Well, I love you.
You're so cute. I honestly appreciate you. I think that this is going to help so many people out there going on dates. You guys, don't hold back. Be fearless on the first date. Find out, like, what are they expecting? You know, what do they see growing up, and what do they really want from their ideal partner? And listen to what they say. Don't try to change their mind. Oh my gosh, that's another one that's super important, right? Like, if you said to me, oh no, I expect my wife to stay at home, blah, 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 I wouldn't be like, well, wait a second, like debate
Right.
time. Like, that's not what we're gonna do. People tell you who they are. Don't try to change them. Yay, go team. Thanks. Thank you for listening. Teddy, you want to say bye?
Bye.
Thank you. Until next time. And don't settle for anything less than crazy love, because it has to be crazy love.
Crazy love
Or nothing. Oh my God, that was so lame. Bye, guys.